What's up guys, I'm Brent and today I'm going to show you guys how to turn a ring. Check it out. So I have a piece of exotic wood here. This is a ring blank that I purchased at Craft Supplies USA. That's where I got a lot of the stuff I use for making these rings. So now what I'm going to do is I have a glue block on my lathe here. I'm going to take some double-faced tape. This stuff is really nice for holding things on the lathe. It's super strong. It is a little bit expensive. I think this roll cost me about $40, but it does last you a really long time. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some tape on this, and then we'll stick this piece on, and then we can start turning it. Just let that sit for a few minutes, let it really adhere to the wood, and then we can start turning the piece. So what I've done is I've found a drill bit that's just slightly smaller than the ring core that I have. I'm going to drill all the way through the piece, and then as soon as I'm done with that, we can start opening up the hole until the ring core fits inside. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, now that I've drilled the hole, I'm going to take the corners off, and then we're going to open up the hole. So there's still a few flat spots left, but I'm going to just go ahead and start working on fitting the ring core to the blank. There are a couple different tools you could use for this. I have a small 1/4 inch scraper. You can use that to open this up. I also have a little larger scraper. You could also use a small skew on its side to open up the hole. I'm going to go ahead and use this 1/4 inch scraper to open up the hole. And what you want to do is just test it on the outside. Just go in a little bit and open it up until you can get this to slide in. You don't want to have to force it in, but you also don't want it to have any wiggle room. Alright, so I have the lathe turning fairly fast. I'm just going to go ahead and start opening up the hole. Okay, that's pretty much perfect right there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the hole to the same size all the way to the inside of the piece. I'm actually going to switch to the small skew because this is a little bit flatter. It'll get in there a little bit easier. You just want to take your time with this, go real slow. Don't want to take off a ton at one time, so that way you are sure to get it to fit properly. If you happen to go oversize, it's always good to have a larger ring core, because then you can just move on up to the next size. Alright, so now that I've got it to fit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking the face off until it is the same thickness as the ring core. All right, so I put the ring core on the inside, and this just helps me know when to stop. It also helps prevent the fibers from peeling in, and if it's tight enough, it should just stay in there, which this one is right now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take off just a little bit more, and then it'll be flush with the piece, and then we can glue it inside. Just gonna use a putty knife and start wedging it inside behind the piece. You want to do this really slowly so that way you don't break this, because this is extremely fragile. Alright, so that's what our ring blank looks like now. I'm going to go ahead and glue the ring core on the inside. Alright, so I'm just going to glue this in. I'm going to use some medium super glue, and I'm going to put that around the outside edge of the ring core, and then you can glue it in. I also have some thin CA here to help fill in any gaps that there might be. I'm going to let this dry, and then we can go ahead and start turning it. Alright, so we've got this mounted up on my pen mandrel, and I have these ring bushings. These are made out of Delrin plastic, so they're non-stick, so when you use a CA finish on the ring, it won't stick to it. You can also buy these at craft supplies. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my spindle gouge and just start turning this down, take off most of the material, and then just slowly start to just barely put a little bit of a curve on it. Don't want to take this too thin, otherwise it'll break. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand this just real gently, and then we're going to put a CA finish on it. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is put on a CA finish. I'm going to be using some medium CA glue. Just take a cloth. I'm going to put some of that on there. I'm just going to do this a couple times until you build up a good coat on the top. Alright, so I've got about 8 to 10 coats on there or so. So now I'm going to go ahead and start to sand this just a little bit. Start about 320 and then go to 400, and then I'm going to start using some polishing wax. Alright, so what I'm going to be using is some of this Dr. Kirk's scratch-free polish. I'm going to put some of this on there, and then have a couple other different ones as well. There are 3 other waxes that I'm going to use as well to kind of help buff it up. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this off now, and then we can clean up a little bit of the super glue around the edges, and then it'll be done. Okay, So we'll just pop these off. You can see it just comes right off. It's not super hard. There is a little bit of excess stuff around the edges, so you just go ahead and start to pick that off. And then as soon as you get all of that off, it'll be done. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button and share it with everybody you know. If you want to see what else I'm working on, be sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Have links to those down in the description. If you want to help support what I'm doing, be sure to go check out my Patreon page. There will be a link to that down below. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button. I post a video almost every week. Also, if you enjoyed this video, you might enjoy some of my others. I'll have 2 of those pop up on the screen. Be sure to go check both of those out, and I'll see you on the next video.